Good morning, everybody. Today's learning objective is I can measure turns and angles. So today we're going to be looking at turns in degrees. We're going to be looking at fractions of turns and turns on a compass. So let's get started. I've got a circle here, and let's look at these two arrows here. So, bear with me. Let's just put that there. Right, this arrow is pointing to A. It's pointing up to A. If a person's facing A and then they turn round to B, then let's just think about what angle turn they have made. So let's look. We were looking at angles yesterday, weren't we? Types of angles. We can see from this that that is a right angle. So a person who started pointing at A and ended up pointing at B has turned, just have a think about it, 90 degrees. Okay, that is a 90-degree angle. It is a right angle, isn't it? Okay, so from there to there is 90 degrees. As a fraction of a turn, what would you say they have turned? If that is a full turn from A all the way around to A, what fraction of a turn is that from A to B? So is it 3/4, 2/5, 1/8? Okay, have a think about it. The answer is 1/4. So that is a 1/4 turn. Okay, so from A down to B, it's a 90-degree turn, but it's also a quarter turn. It's just different ways of saying it. Okay, let's start again. This person is pointing at A. They're facing A. They turn all the way round, and they're now facing C. So they were at A, and they're now facing C. So we've got to think, what angle have they turned there? Now, yesterday we called this a straight angle, didn't we? Let's do the fraction first. Well, if that is 1/4 from there to there, then that's going to be 2/4, isn't it? So we think of a 2/4 as really as a half. Okay, so if this person has made a half turn from A all the way around to C, then what degrees would that be as a number? Well, 1/4 is 90. It's twice as much as 90, isn't it? So it's got to be double 90, or 2 times 90 is 180 degrees. Okay, so they have moved from 0 degrees all the way around to 180 degrees. Let's move on. Let's say this person has now moved from A through B, through C to D. How many degrees have they turned? Well, as a fraction of a turn, they have turned 3/4, haven't they? They've turned 3/4 of the way around the circle. And then to work out what that is in degrees, well, it's 90 add 90 add 90, which gives us 270 degrees. Okay, so let's just put these here. And what fraction of a turn was that? Well, it's 3/4, wasn't it? So that leaves us, what degrees is this up here? If a person is facing A and they don't move at all, how many degrees have they turned? Well, it's 0 degrees. Okay. What if they have turned a full turn from 0 all the way round? How many degrees is that to go all the way around? A full turn, well, it's going to be 90 add 90 add 90 add 90, and we get 360 degrees. Okay, so a full turn is 360 degrees. And our degree sign is just this little circle that we put up here. Okay, so let's put that into something a bit more practical. So let's imagine a situation here. We've got Iman is facing the paddling pool. So this is Iman, and she's facing this way here. She makes a half turn. What is she facing now? So let's think of fractions of a turn. So that would be a quarter turn. She turns a half turn, so it's 1/4, 1/2. She is now facing the tennis courts. Okay. Have a look at this question. Pause the video. Okay, so Iman is facing the cafe. She turned 90 degrees clockwise. What is she facing now? Now, we knew 90 is that, but 90 can be from any point, so it's a quarter turn, isn't it? So 90 degrees clockwise. She's facing the cafe. She turns 90 degrees clockwise. she is now facing the tennis court. Okay, so 90 degrees is the angle of the turn. It doesn't matter where you start, it's always going to be a right angle turn, isn't it? So if she was facing that way and she turns 90 degrees, she turns to the tennis courts, doesn't she? Okay, because there's a right angle in there. 90 degrees is a right angle. Next one. Have a look at this one. Have a go at it yourself. Pause the video here. Iman is facing the picnic area. She makes a full turn. What is she facing now? So, she was facing the picnic area. She makes a full turn. So a full turn is 360 degrees. So all the way around, a full turn, she's facing the picnic area again, isn't she? Okay, so it's the picnic area for a 360 degree turn. Right, next one. Listen to this one. Iman is facing the tennis courts. She turns 270 degrees anti-clockwise. What is she facing now? So pause it here and have a go. Okay, Iman is facing the tennis courts. Let's have her facing the tennis courts. She turns 270 degrees anti-clockwise. Let's just remind ourselves of what 270 degrees is. It's 1, 2, 3/4 turns, isn't it? And clockwise is the direction the clock goes in. So 270 degrees, so it's 3/4 turns, so 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 270 degrees. She is facing the cafe. Oh, I've just misread that. It's anti-clockwise. Let's start that again. I'm sure some of you are screaming that out of the video. Let's try that again. So she is facing the tennis courts. She turns 270 degrees anti-clockwise. So that means the opposite way that the clock goes around. So let's try that again. 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 270 degrees. She is facing the picnic area. Sorry for that. Always read the question. Right. Iman is facing the paddling pool. How many degrees does she need to turn to be facing the picnic area? So, have a think about that. Pause the video if you like. Iman is facing the paddling pool. How many degrees does she need to turn to be facing the picnic area? Well, the quickest way to do it would be to go from there to there. So it would be 90 degrees anti-clockwise. Oops, doesn't look too good, does it? Let's take that off. Right, last one. Iman is facing the cafe. She turns 180 degrees. Does it matter if she turns clockwise or anti-clockwise? Right, let's have her facing the cafe first of all. So, does it matter if she turns 180 degrees anti-clockwise or clockwise? Well, 180 degrees is half a turn, so let's try clockwise first. 90, 180, she ends up that way. Let's try it the other way. She goes anti-clockwise, 90 degrees, 180 degrees. So the answer is no, it doesn't matter, because either way it's a half a turn. It will get her to the same place, won't it? Okay. For the next bit, we're just going to first recap a compass. A compass is something that tells you where things are on a map. We've got north is at the top, south is at the bottom, east is to this side, and west is to this side. But we've also got northeast is facing this way, southeast that way, southwest that way, and northwest that way. So as an example, to the north of this map of Yorkshire, we've got Richmond. To the east of this map, we've got Bridlington. To the south of this map, we've got Rotherham. To the west of this map, we've got, well, there's nothing there, is there? Should we say Skipton, Yorkshire Dales National Park? I'd like you to pause the video and find somewhere that's in the northeast of Yorkshire. Okay, so in the northeast, we've got Whitby, for example, is in the northeast. I want you to find somewhere in the southeast of Yorkshire now. And I would say we've got Hull is in the southeast. Can you find somewhere in the southwest of Yorkshire now? I'd say Huddersfield, and something in the northwest. There's not much up there, but I'd say the Yorkshire Dales National Park is in the northwest, this corner up here. Okay, we need to know that for the next part of the lesson. So we can measure turns as fractions as well. So we're going to be combining the compass turns with turns as a fraction. So let's say we are facing north. Someone's facing north on a map. They turn from north to east. Okay, we know that's 90 degrees. We also think of that as a 1/4 turn. We have covered that, but it's going to get tricky in a moment. What about to go from south to west? So we start off facing south, we faced west. That is a 1/4 turn, isn't it? Because from there, whoops, from there to there is a 1/4 turn. It's a 90-degree turn, isn't it? Okay, the next one says from south to something is a half turn. Well, a half turn from south would be half is either that way, half, or half that way. So we'd be ending up facing north, wouldn't we? Okay, northeast to southeast. Right, let's just change these. So from northeast, let's put that there. From northeast to southeast, what kind of a turn is that? Well, it looks like a right angle, that. It's 90 degrees, isn't it? So it's a 1/4 turn. Something to southeast is a half turn. Well, that's on southeast there, isn't it? So something to southeast. Let's do the half turn. So 1/4 turn, half turn. It's got to be northwest, hasn't it? And then east to north clockwise. Okay, let's put that there. So to go from east to north clockwise, so we go 1/4 of a turn, half a turn, 3/4 of a turn. Okay, and then east to southeast. So to go from east to southeast. Now that's a bit different, isn't it? So it's got quite a small turn here. Let's just have a think about this. So there would be a 1/4 turn. This is half of that amount, isn't it? So you've got to think, what's half of a 1/4? Well, it's 1/8, isn't it? Because this compass is split into 8 equal parts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 equal parts. So it's a 1/8 turn. And let's just have a look at this one here. Something to northwest clockwise is a 3/8 turn. So something turned from clockwise, so 1/8, 2/8, 3/8. So it would be south, wouldn't it? Okay, 1/8, 2/8, 3/8 turn clockwise. So quite a lot to take on board there. You might want to just skip back and go over that if you're finding that tricky. Otherwise, let's look at more precise degrees turns. So it's quite tricky, this. So let's start here on 0 degrees. Okay, to go from north to east, we know that that is from north to east. That's 90 degrees, don't we? But what if we went from north to northeast? Okay, so from north up here to northeast, how many degrees would that be? We've just discussed that as an 1/8 of a turn. This is going to be half of 90, isn't it? So if that's 90 degrees, then what is half of 90? It's 45 degrees. Okay? So we know that these 1/8 turns go up in jumps of 45 degrees. So from 0 to north, so from north to northeast is 45 degrees, to there it's 90 degrees. So what would southeast be? From north, if you turn from north to southeast, how many degrees turn would that be? Well, it's going to be 90, add 45, isn't it? So have a think about that now. And the answer is 135 degrees. Okay, right, what if you went from north to south? How many degrees turn is that? We've done that already. That is 180 degrees, isn't it? To go from north all the way to southwest, well, it's going to be 180, add 45, so we get 225 degrees. Okay, what about to go from north all the way round clockwise to west? Well, it's 45 degrees more, so it's 270 degrees. And then to go from north all the way round clockwise to northwest, so it's 270, add 45 more, is 315. And then to go from north all the way round to north again, how far have you turned? Well, it's 360 degrees, isn't it? A full turn equals 360 degrees. So we go from 0 to 360 there. Right, last challenge. Oh, it's getting quite long, this video, isn't it? We've got a table here. We're going to use the compass to help us. So we've got the type of turn that has been made, the degrees and number, the type of angle, so that could be right angle, obtuse, acute, reflex, and then the fraction of a turn. So let's have a look at this. To go from northeast to southeast clockwise, let's get some arrows to help us. To go from northeast to southeast clockwise, how many degrees turn was that? Well, let's do the fraction of a turn first. It was a quarter of a turn, and we know a quarter of a turn is 90 degrees. What type of angle is that? Well, we know 90 degrees is a right angle. We've got one here, southwest to something clockwise. Well, I'll help you with that because the answer's there. Southwest to something clockwise is 180 degrees. So let's have a look at this. Southwest to something clockwise is 180 degrees. So 180 is a half turn. So a half turn, that person would end up at northeast, wouldn't they? So let's put that in there, because that will help you later. You'll be completing this table as part of your work. Northeast to east clockwise. So northeast to east clockwise. What fraction of a turn was that? Well, it's half of 90 degrees, half of a right angle, half of a quarter turn, so it's 1/8 of a turn. Right, really quite tricky that, but you'll be completing the rest of that table in your books. Right, I better stop there. It's been a very long video. Go back and listen again if you found that tricky. Quite a lot to take on board there. Right, good luck with the work. Bye.